Hello everyone, this is Jenna Ryan, and I'm coming to you today with a message that is a little bit different than my previous teachings, but it's not so much different as an addition. And the title of this audio podcast is Rethinking No Contact. Rethinking No Contact. So a lot of the people that talk about narcissist abuse and narcissism and, that codependency and all of those things, there's a big push for no contact. It's vital when you're being abused by someone and you have no boundaries and you can't protect yourself. It is very important to go no contact or low contact. And I've taught that in my prior audios, is you really have to go no contact in order to take care of yourself. Otherwise, you may continue to pine over that person, ruminate about that person, or continue to be damaged by that person through their various manipulative measures. So in many cases of narcissist abuse or abuse of any kind, no contact is the best scenario because you've got to get yourself protected. You've got to get out of the harm's way. And so that's why I always talk about no contact. It's because you want to stay out of the way of harm. But what I want to talk about now is really kind of segueing off of that and talking about rethinking total no contact. Because what happens is people discover no contact and they discover that they're able to get freedom in their life and they're able to feel better for temporarily, and they emotionally disconnect, and then they go overboard, to the extreme where they're blocking the whole world. They're blocking everyone. They're blocking anyone and everyone, just block, and living a reality of, okay, if that person does not please me, or if I feel that they have anything negative to say and I don't like it, then I'm going to block them. And I think that is overuse of the no contact strategy, the tool. No contact is a tool to use when you're in a narcissist relationship and you can't protect yourself through your own means. Okay? If you don't have the inner self, the identity to protect yourself and to keep yourself safe, then no contact is a tool to use. However, it's not advised, it's not healthy, I don't think, to just no contact with anyone you don't like and just, pull out your tool, no contact for everyone and everything. The reason is because it can make you isolated and it burns bridges. And so I'm in a place after a lot of what I've gone through to realize the importance of keeping relations really good with others. So yes, in part of my life where I couldn't handle things, I would have to block and no contact with people, but now that I'm healed and I'm more mature, I'm able to tolerate discomfort. So if someone is, doesn't make me feel 100% good all the time, or I might think has, tendencies that are not healthy for me to be close to, instead of blocking that person physically and, sticking it to him, so to speak, like, here, I'm going to no contact and block you. You've disappointed me. Instead of doing that, I think that a more mature way to handle it once you're ready is to block them from being able to get into your inner self so that you're able to keep people in your parameter, but not necessarily let them as close to you as you would someone who you trust. So it's more of gauging who do I put where. So that can be difficult if you grow up in a traumatic situation, or if you're just not sure, if you weren't raised to really understand who's healthy for me and who's not. And so instead of going no contact, and someone on TikTok had mentioned that something about, if you are someone who cannot tolerate people around you who don't always make you feel good, who don't always, make you feel good. If they say things that maybe may offend you, may criticize you or whatever, it's more a problem of emotional regulation. So we should be able to stand in the presence of someone who is not always agreeable, who doesn't agree with us, who may have different opinions. I'm not talking about abuse. I'm just talking about, people that maybe they have some feedback for you that you don't want to hear, or that you didn't want to hear, or that hurt your feelings. And so I've seen some people in my life who are just going no contact automatically when anyone makes them feel any kind of way. And that is really limiting in your life. You're going to limit your options. You're going to limit the things you can do, the places you can go, the people you can see, and it really leads to more negative emotion. There are people that may not always say exactly what you want them to, but that if you keep them in your life, you might want to go have a drink with them some night, or you might want to, have them in your life for another reason, not necessarily to be your best friend, but actually just to have as an acquaintance. It's important to have all different levels of friends. You don't need just one level. All friends cannot be your ride or die. All friends are not going to be the ones that empathize with you and are there for you. But other friends can still be good for you, even if they aren't in your inner circle. So I think it's important to keep bridges open, to be careful about blocking and removing. I mean, I used to be crazy. I used to be like, crazy about the notion of just blocking people. If they didn't make me happy, block. If I felt abused or mistreated, block. But now I am able to emotionally regulate better, and I'm able to say, oh, okay, this person has a belief that's different from me, and I am, I experience my emotions around that, and it's okay for them to be who they are. It's okay for them to be imperfect. It's okay that I don't always feel 100% in this person's presence. Of course, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. You kind of gauge whether the relationship is worth keeping long term. And, if it's just an obnoxious person that's offensive and disgusting, then of course, or has mental illness or addictions and they're pulling you into that, then, definitely no contact is the way to go. But is no contact really the way to go with anyone who disappoints you, anyone that you're experiencing conflict with, anyone that, criticizes you or has a different belief system than you, or that you have determined for that moment is not worthy of friendship? I would ask you to reconsider, and also keep your options open for future, because people change, people forgive, opinions change, and seasons change, and you may want that person in your life in the future, and you can't have that if you have burned bridges, per se. I mean, you can always go back to them and say, hey, but it's better if you can control within. So, if somebody is negative towards you, you can back off for a little while and keep the bridge open, and keep your bridges open. Don't burn your bridges. Keep your bridges open, and then maybe don't talk to them about that specific subject. Unless, if you don't like it, then you could set a boundary and say, I don't like that, so don't do that. And they may change their behavior. And if you find that they're not going to change their behavior, then you might say, you know what? That person doesn't have to change their behavior for me to keep a bridge open with them. I can still keep good connection, keep good vibes flowing, but I just know, okay, check. I know that I can't, I don't want to call that person, or I don't want to do this. If I need this, I'm not going to call them for that. I'm not going to talk to them about my struggles or whatever. So you're just giving them a different level of yourself. You're giving them a different piece of yourself, and you're communicating with them on the level that they are willing to do, which may mean a reduction in time spent with them, or taking care of yourself, yet not breaking off emotional connection totally. So you're keeping, because I can't remember the YouTuber who was talking about breaking emotional connection. Emotional disconnect is dangerous in family systems. Family systems therapy, and what they talk about is, people that are just emotionally disconnecting from everyone. That's not healthy either. So, being abused is not healthy, but it's abusive towards yourself to do too much emotional disconnect with people that are viable for future reference. So, for example, I have friends that have ticked me off, and we take a break, we, grow, we take a break, and then we become friends again. It's the best friendship in the world. And you forgive and you forget and you move on. And my first judgment of them, of being somebody that was this, that, and the other, changes over time, because different people are there for you for different reasons at different times. So I just want to say, rethink no contact across the board, and rethink blocking, groups and blocking anyone and everything who's not perfect, because nobody's perfect, and you may need that relationship in the future, and there may be a beautiful relationship on the other side of the conflict if you will give yourself time to emotionally regulate and experience the negative emotion that you feel and projections that you're putting on that person as well, and really own up to your own part, and then begin to organize your friends in a way that allows people that are safe to come more closer to you, and then people that are, not necessarily safe, or you're questioning their actions and motives, kind of keeping them on the edge of keeping them farther away from your heart. So that takes skill. It's a tool, it's skill. It's not just learned overnight. You have to practice it. If you come from a codependent background, this is something that you really have to work on. Like, okay, how do I hold that person at arm's length, but yet still keep the connection going, still feel warm feelings? How do I hold this person who doesn't have the same beliefs as me, who doesn't think the same as me, or may have a negative view of something I did or do? How do I hold that person in love? How do I hold that person in high esteem as a fellow person walking on the planet with me, instead of just emotionally disconnecting, blocking, and then talking bad behind their back, or talking about how much I'm a victim of all these bad people? So it's better to keep that open, and then positioning, which means you have to have self-control. You have to control where you are putting your eggs, putting all your eggs in one basket. Where are you putting your eggs? Are you putting your eggs in someone who is not there for you when, you need them? If you're doing that, then you need to adjust within yourself. Just cutting a bunch of people off, or cutting someone off because you notice behavior that, I heard a video, that's a red flag. Oh, I'm going to cut them off forever. Okay, that's more impulsive, and it's not healthy long term. It's not sustainable long term. As you grow and as you heal, you begin to allow people to be flawed and allow people that in your life that aren't always going to make you feel amazing and sometimes be a bit frustrating, but still love them and hold them in high esteem and keep that bridge open in the event that they return or that there's something good to be experienced with that relationship in the future. Now, again, I want to stress, I'm not talking about abusive relationships. Of course, those need to be, really, really cut off in order so you can function and move and grow and become who you really are and grow to your full maturity. But as far as the, just everyday little nuisances, if someone's untrustworthy, if you find that someone's not trustworthy, that you're seeing, different things about them, then maybe you don't want to have them, at your house alone with your jewelry box. But they may be a great person to go and have lunch with and talk to. Or there may be another gal who, lies all the time. And everything comes out of her mouth, she's lying. I don't know anyone like this, but I heard of another friend who has a friend like this. And, she still loves that friend. And she just takes that friend for who she is. And instead of blocking her, cutting her off, and trying to look for the perfect friend in the whole world and waiting for that perfect friend that's never going to show up, she loves her friend for who she is. And you can love people for who they are and just love them. Just love people. So my message is, no contact is a tool. It's not, you don't want to use a baseball bat for a tiny thumbtack. A tiny thumbtack just needs a little teeny tiny, maybe the end of a screwdriver to nail it in. Or maybe you could press the thumbtack in with your thumb. You don't have to use the big tools, the big guns to come out whenever it's time to interact. You can use little methods of backing away, okay. And, that takes reparenting. That takes talking to yourself, self-talk. Like, okay, I'm hurt. I'm feeling hurt because this person did this or that. And I recognize that I feel hurt about it. And I'm going to remember that. And I'm going to keep it in mind and move forward and always keep that open door open if possible. It's not always possible, but if it is, then it can be better for you in the future. It's just more mature and it gives you a better reputation and it makes you feel better. And it's always good to have someone you can call, and that there's good relations there. So that is my message for today about rethinking no contact.